Oh, let me share with you a day in the life of me. Online, not a day in the life of me. So I have a non-fan. I'm going to call you a non-fan, based Afro. And you've really been busy jumping up and down on my page. And I just want other people out there to know that I do watch the comments on my page, and sometimes things do get thrown over into the health category, and 99.9% of the time, unless it's super offensive to other people out there, because strangers can't offend me, I will take it out of the held and I let it go into the public domain. I don't mind constructive, conversations, actually. More than I don't mind. I like to have constructive conversations. I like to see them going on. And I can tell that Based Afro over here is just trying to be a nasty sort. And I'm going to read through some of the comments, and is here just to feel powerful and big. And he kind of looks like a D-head. Well, here's the picture. How about that? What do you think? What do you think? Yeah. And I want to thank you, Based Afro. I am tagging you in this because, at the end of the day, you may not know this, but you're boosting my algorithm and you're creating conversation. And the reason that I'm leaving you alone so far and haven't removed any of your comments is because nobody seems to feel unsafe from you, by you, that sort of thing. Like, it looks to me like most of the people who are commenting on my page and who have engaged with you see where you're coming from, and they're just not entertaining you anymore. And also, a little side note, because people always go, well, why do you respond to these people in these comments? It's because there's people out there who don't have their voice yet, and this helps them to have their voice. And 9 times out of 10, when I do this, I get a whole lot less people like Based Afro bothering me or trying to bother me, because it doesn't bother me. And some of it is almost like entertaining. Ooh, I hooked my ring. Ooh, want to see something cool? Yeah, that's Swarovski. How cool is that? I love it. I love it so much. Okay. I'm all over the map. So this was on one of my videos, just talking about estrangement, as we do in this community. For those of you, lots of you who don't know who I am, my name is Marnie Grundman, and I'm an estranged adult child. I've been estranged from my mother, who is a sociopath and a narcissist, for over 30 years, and with the entire narcissistic family system. I was an estranged parent for 2.5 years, with my eldest daughter. That was over 20 years ago, and our relationship is solid and beautiful. And the reason that I share that is because I want people out there to understand that I come from both sides of the track, so I understand both experiences. In addition to that, I'm a therapist, and I work almost exclusively with survivors of narcissistic family systems. I say almost exclusively because sometimes I do have other types of clients. That, however, is my specialty. Okay. Keep in mind that narcissists love to punish and get revenge by using silent treatment and ghosting folks for no apparent reason. Don't be that kind of a-hole. Just saying. And I did write you a response, but I want to give a response out there for other people that might read your comment and not mine. And I just want to answer it anyway, because I see this with people who are narcissistic, who like to accuse the adult estranged children of giving the silent treatment. When we were given the silent treatment by our own parents, that silent treatment was a power move on their part. It was to gain control over us in a way that would make us implode emotionally, in a way that would make us feel not good enough, not important, not worthy of even a word from that parent. That silent treatment would increase our desperation to be better daughters and sons so that our parent would engage with us. It was used for control. It was used as a punishment to control. It was used to ensure that that child kept working for that parent's love, because the child didn't know that that parent didn't have love to give. Okay? So that's the silent treatment. Are we clear on that? What's your name again? Based Afro, are you clear? Got it? No contact. Becoming an estranged adult child. That's about healing. That's about recognizing and accepting that the other person, whether it's a parent or another family member, whoever it is, isn't going to be an emotionally safe person for us. And therefore, we have to be our emotionally safe person. And in order to do that, we have to treat ourselves with the worth that we always had. And that worth means that we have to make sure that we provide our own safety, our own validation, our own boundaries and standards for the way that we treat ourselves at a level where we do not allow people to access us who are intentionally harming us. That's no contact. Silent treatment for punishment. No contact for healing, growth, and self-preservation. To be able to have healthy relationships instead of being involved in a relationship. And just so everyone out there can get a little bit more flavor from you, because I know the only reason you're here is because you're bitter and angry. You're not here to learn. You're not here to be supportive. You're not here to be open-minded. I don't know what your story is. I'm hoping you're not a parent. If you are one, I bet you're estranged. It wouldn't surprise me. You could just be a trauma survivor who has a tremendous deficit when it comes to self-compassion, and I anger you. There could be any number of things, and maybe all of it is true. Regardless, it doesn't give you the right to behave the way that you're behaving on my page. I'm going to leave you go because the algorithm means that other people who are looking for help are going to see me and hear me. So you're helping me raise more awareness and also helping others to learn how to deal with nonsense like you. So where you made the comment was on a video where I was talking about how estranged parents, by and large, if they're willing to look inside themselves, do know what they did and do know that at minimum they were emotionally immature and didn't show up for their children, right? This whole thing of I don't know what I did, a lot of times comes from the fact that they stayed in relationships with their parent who was eviscerating them in one way or another. And because they did better than that parent, they feel like they deserve and are entitled to a relationship with their children because after all, they stayed in the relationship with their parent. So I think that's kind of what the premise of that video was, as best of my recollection. I have thousands of them. So that's about where it was. So you put something on there and you put, no, they don't always know what they did. Have the guts and integrity to tell them. And then somewhere down the line, you put some equate abuse with having received a vanilla cake for their 13th birthday instead of a chocolate one that they asked for. By the way, I didn't get birthday cakes. That's not what I call abuse. I call emotionally neglecting me on my birthdays. My mother loved to ruin my birthdays, by the way. I call that abuse. Letting me know that I wasn't worth love and affection and then tying it in with a special day, that is abuse. Abuse is about causing harm. But I guess for you, the way you quantify it is by your standard. And we don't have a right to tell somebody that they weren't abused. What their experience was, how they received that experience is valid. It may not be valid to you. That doesn't mean it's not valid. Plenty of parents have been canceled for voting the wrong way, not getting a certain shot, and so on, and with no idea as to why. Well, here's the thing. Before no contact happens, there is a situation in these relationships where the adult child becomes quieter and more distant. And they may not be intentionally textbook gray rocking. More they're withdrawing because they're recognizing that, well, for example, when they share with their parent, oh, I got a promotion at work today. And the parent goes, so what? that they're not happy for them. And that hurts because that's your parent. They're supposed to support you. Or, I'm looking at going on this trip and doing these things and I've saved up all my money. Why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your money? Why would you do that? And then weaponizing how they spend their money against them. All sorts of things. And I know you don't look at that as being abusive. It's a pattern of behavior that says you're not good enough. I reject you. I don't trust you. You're not smart. In fact, you're stupid. You're damaged goods. Why are you talking such nonsense? It's a constant way of diminishing the child that you're supposed to be building up. And so what happens a lot of times in the beginning of no contact, and let's mix in the guilt. Oh, you didn't call me. You didn't this. You didn't that. Oh, I gave you everything. Why aren't you grateful? All the guilting and stuff that goes on in there. So what happens is these estranged adult children, before they estrange, they start drawing back just out of self-preservation. Okay, I'll share this, but not that. Oh, I really want my mom's advice, but she's going to have a meltdown and start crying and screaming how I never loved her. They're starting to avoid the behaviors that are hurting them. And instead of that parent taking notice going, wow, my kid seems kind of quiet. Let me check in and see if they're okay. They double down. They go, why aren't you calling me? And they start grabbing onto that child more and making that child feel more guilty. And then they wonder why one day the kid just stops picking up the phone. Well, that's a part of the reason why. And they don't look back at any of their behavior and go, what was my part to play? And you don't have to hear it from the source. If you really want to figure it out, you can hop online and start watching videos and content. You can do that for free. All these videos I make are free. Or better yet, you could go to therapy and go, I don't understand why my child left me, and start unpacking your stuff and learning about yourself and figuring it out by kind of reverse engineering it. I have parents who have done that, by the way, who have come to me. They're estranged and they don't understand why their kid is estranged. They know that some of their behaviors and things they exposed them to weren't good, but they don't understand why that meets the level that it did, that it caused their child not to want to engage with them anymore. And lo and behold, those parents who come to me are also the ones who go, I'm reading this book about emotionally immature parents. Not even when I wouldn't have even recommended it yet. I do recommend it. It's a great book. It's an oldie but a goodie. And they'll go, I started reading it because, I don't know, I was drawn to it and I'm seeing myself in the pages of it. The parents who want to know are going to dig to find out. They're not going to jump up and down and say I didn't deserve it. They're going to jump up and down and go, I got to figure out what's happening. Okie dokie. What else we got? Oh, and the thing about voting the wrong way. And I do know that politics obviously has created a lot of division. I want you to know why, though. A lot of where that's happened. It isn't because of the way a person voted. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. I'm sure it does. On the majority, though, from what I see, or even religious beliefs, things like that, is because that parent will continue to pick at that scab and give that opinion and try to get their adult child to see things the right way. They're more concerned about being right and being in control and having their adult child be an extension of themselves on the same page with them than they are about respecting their adult child's feelings. So, because they feel entitled to the relationship. And I've seen this where I had a mother and a daughter in therapy with me, and the mother would keep bringing up things that were really hurtful to the daughter. And she's like, but I just want to have an open relationship. I want to be able to talk about everything. I don't want to have a manufactured relationship where I'm not sharing my thoughts and my feelings and my this and my that with you. And the daughter's like, yeah, but we're never going to be on the same page with this. And I love you, Mom. I want to be in a relationship. This is just a topic that we don't see eye to eye on. And I feel like you're judging me for my belief system. Do you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I can't wait to see your comments on this one. The mother went, okay, so I'm actually destroying our connection because I'm trying to shove my belief system down your throat. And I said to the mother, what would it cost you just not to talk about this topic, and respect your daughter's feelings in the process? What would it cost you? And she's like, nothing. And I said, what would it gain you? And she's like, well, everything. And that was about 3 years ago. And the mom came back into therapy with me at some point for some other things that were going on. And I have to say, I'm so very happy to report that the relationship she has with her daughter is incredibly strong. It's beautiful, and they both fought for it. So there you have it. It isn't necessarily because somebody voted differently, although I'm sure that can happen. It's more about what they do with their point of view and how they try to force it on another person. And with a parent to child, a lot of times they feel very entitled to do that because they can't imagine that their property is going to leave them. Let's see what else we got in here. Oops. Have I hit it all yet? So there was, and I'm not going to include the other half of the conversation because it was just a couple of lines, but it was somebody who commented in on that video who said, you know, I did try to tell my mother, and I got a non-apology, and she kind of explained what that looked like. And then he said, well, I don't know if you're a he or she, a they, whatever. So whoever you are, no disrespect on that front, by the way. Well, no disrespect in general, because I'm self-respecting, so that's what I'm providing, right? Did you even tell her exactly what she did? If not, that's on you. And then you said something like, oh, and you doubled down. Did you tell her very specifically what you mean by that? Not trying to sound like an asshole, just asking because I care. Bullshit. You don't care. Because if you cared, you'd be providing support, not judgment. And I will leave this video right here. Have a lovely day.